Welcome, everyone, to the Mohanji Center of Benevolence International Women's Day program. My name is Andra Bayless, and I am honored to welcome you to our first heart-to-heart Women's Circle. You will hear the stories of special women who've greeted life's challenges with poise, compassion, and love, and with an elegance of character that will warm your heart. Mohanji, the humanitarian and philanthropist who founded the Mohanji Center of Benevolence, also inspired this heart-to-heart women's circle. He often speaks about the importance of women. He says, women have been the backbone of society ever since the beginning of mankind. Mohanji feels that women are actually the encouraging force helping to transform humankind into kind humans. He feels that 3.5 billion women around the world are worthy of great respect for their many contributions to the family of humanity. So, we now celebrate International Women's Day. Its theme for 2024 is Inspire Inclusion. You will see, through listening to the stories of these special women, how each has made a difference in the world. May their stories inspire your mind, kindle your heart, and illuminate your soul, and inspire your own life's journey. Naturally, you'll have questions, so we put aside a few minutes for questions and answers after all of the guests have had a chance to share. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce my dear friend herself, a woman for all seasons, Savi Ashtamurthy. Will introduce our facilitator, Seema Shankar, for tonight's program. Savi?
Thank you for the beautiful welcome speech, Andra. Let me introduce you to my wonderful friend, Seema Shankar, whom I have known for over 20 years. Right, Seema? We have known each other for more than 20 years.
We have, yeah.
Yes. Born and raised in the vibrant land of India, Seema has now made the DC metro area her home for the last 25 years. Beyond her daytime role as an IT professional, she finds great pleasure in traveling, embracing the outdoors, and indulging in dance. Besides, she has known her natural flair to be an MC at many of the dance recitals in and around this area. This, along with her great quality to be of help for the good cause, make her the best facilitator for this conversation. Seema, over to you.
Thank you, Savi, for the beautiful introduction. And thank you, everyone, for being here. As Andra said, happy Women's Day to everybody. So let's actually welcome all the accomplished guests here today, Chris, Paul, and Lisa. Let me start over with Chris. Chris Gulden, she grew up in Northumberland, Pennsylvania, where she became interested in criminal justice. She moved to Alexandria, Virginia, where she worked as a deputy sheriff, and she then transitioned to become a patrol officer. A tragic event, unfortunately, changed her life forever, but we can hear her inspiring story of how she overcame the severity of this trauma with strength and determination that few women in this world will do today. So today, Chris leads a vibrant life working as a video reviewer and volunteers as an accessibility advisor for the Friends of Mason Neck State Park. She enjoys exploring parks and national wildlife refuges. And Chris's favorite hobbies are photography, reading, and spending time on her front porch with her friends. And she especially loves watching monarch butterflies emerging from their cocoons. So everyone, welcome Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hi, how are you, Seema?
Doing good. Yeah. So Chris, thank you for being here and spending this wonderful evening with us, especially with a bunch of all of us accomplished ladies here. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I would just like to check and say what actually brought you to the field of police work and to your first job, and how being a woman actually helped you in this police force. I mean, can you give us a little bit about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that my journey into police work is probably similar to what a lot of people follow. I was a kid growing up in the 1970s, and I was fascinated by TV shows that dealt with police officers, like Hawaii Five-0 and the Rockford Files. But there was one that was especially meaningful to me, and that was called Policewoman. It starred Angie Dickinson, and it was the only police show that I remember that had, a woman police officer. So that was one thing that, attracted me in initially to that line of work. I also thought from watching those TV shows that police work would be interesting and exciting, and it would give me a chance to help people. And I liked the idea of, like solving problems and putting clues together to make sense of things. And I was also very fortunate to have parents who thought that as the only daughter and the only girl in the family, that I should have the same opportunities my brothers did. If they could be police officers, I should be able to as well. And so my parents, and I think especially my mom, never said, you need to, follow a specific track. You need to be a nurse, or you need to do something that is more associated with, women and that type of work. So I graduated from high school and went to college and earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And I started applying for jobs with police departments. And I ended up, the first agency that offered me a job was the Alexandria Sheriff's Office. So I moved down here.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah.
Moved down here to Northern Virginia to accept that job. And I think that, some of the things that make women very good in law enforcement is that we tend to not be as combative, maybe, or as aggressive as men. I think that we can be more understanding and maybe not as threatening when a female police officer arrives on a scene. So I think communication skills a lot of times.
And I think
really
sympathy too. Yeah.
What's that?
Sympathy also goes a long way. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Just an ability to relate and to cool the temperature of a hot and dynamic scene, as opposed to sometimes guys come in and it just escalates, So I think that women have a lot of characteristics that are very helpful in law enforcement.
It is so nice to hear as to how you showed that women actually helped out in de-escalating situations than trying to make the water boil over or the milk boil over and spill everywhere. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's very nice as to how you put that. So I know you did let us know that it was not even in the movies, as you just said, it was not usual to see police officers, whereas now you see them everywhere. So what were some of the challenges that you faced when you were on the police force? And you being a woman, was there differences in how they treated you or your experience as a police officer? How was it at the workplace? Yeah.
I never felt like I was treated any differently than any of the male police officers, except that I think as a female, and this was probably pressure that I put on myself, I realized that I was in the minority. And I certainly didn't want to screw up and give all the women in the police department or in the policing profession a bad reputation. So I felt like I had to work harder, to prove myself and to make sure that I was doing things appropriately and acceptably.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So you upheld the reputation of the entire womankind as a kind of what you said, try to make it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But, I remember, Seema, it's funny you asked some of the challenges. initially it was just some of the things like trying to learn all the streets in the city,
Oh, yes.
and what is the quickest way from where I am now to where I need to go, and how do I listen to the radio, the police radio where
Oh,
there's
yeah.
unit 123, respond to a 1016 at 375 South Reynolds Street, and 124 will be your backup. While at the same time the stereo in the car is on and somebody's singing 70s music, it was just kind of figuring out, oh my gosh, am I turning on the red and blue overhead lights, or am I going to turn on the siren and freak everybody out because there's this loud noise, and is this the spotlight? So there were just some very basic things like that. The paperwork, if I'm making a felony arrest, do I have to fill out 3 copies of this or 4? And there were very specific procedures, and do I put this form on the left side of the folder, or does it go on the right side of the folder?
Wow.
So
I know. Yeah, you only see all the action-packed drama on the scenes. You don't know. This is where you get the real thing from you, as to all the paperwork that goes behind the scenes, and the sirens. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
I always love to hear those sirens, especially if it is not for my car, for someone else's car.
Right. Yeah, it's always better when they're after somebody else.
Somebody else. Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is such a nice way to have said that, to show us what goes on behind the scenes, because all you see is the fame and the glory and the fast-paced nature of what happens, especially on TV, unless you actually know someone. And it's so nice to hear from you the
You're right.
basic necessities of what happens. Now moving on to something, I know we did mention earlier that you had to go through some real traumatic incidents in your life. So it would be what is, I mean, it would be nice for everyone else to hear as to how you faced that, and what attribute of being a woman helped you overcome this adversity. And I know it's a little painful, so we apologize, but at the same time, do let us know how it all happened, so that all of us can learn from it. Yeah.
Sure. So 25 years ago, I was out for a bicycle ride and I was hit by a car. I ended up with a spinal cord injury, and I have not been able to walk since then. So I use a manual wheelchair. Yes, there have certainly been difficult days over those 25 years, but I think some of the qualities that have helped me to cope and just to get through and to continue to have a decent life are, first of all, having a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh even when maybe not in the
face of it, but at
moments.
least, yeah. Yes.
Right. But at some point, hopefully there comes a time when you can laugh a little bit. I was and am so fortunate to have a family that rallied around me and said, we'll do
Nice.
whatever you need. And we would have done the same things for my brothers. That's not, me being a female, that they felt like they had to take care of me in any special way, other, different from what they would have done for my brothers. I think that, and again, I don't know, Seema, that this honestly has to do with being a woman, with as much as it does with how I was raised. And my parents were both very athletic and very active. And so, my brothers and I grew up playing sports, and that certainly helped me to develop, a spirit of resilience, and to learn
Nice.
perseverance, and to keep, pushing through the difficult times and the challenging times. I used to run.
To keep moving, I guess, to keep moving on, because sports does help you teach that, hey, you fall down, you come back up and go back up again. Yeah.
Exactly. And, when you think about it, what's the option? Yes,
Yeah.
my life is difficult, but
play the cards that you're dealt with sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is difficult. Everything does take longer. But, the alternative, not being here at all, there's no way I would want that.
That is not something any of us would want. And so we're so glad that you're here with us, and definitely love to hear such things from you. So at the same time, I know you did say that you had a lot of family support. Any how do you think some of the other women helped you during this time of need? And do you have any particular people that you would like to? I know your family, definitely. You did say that more than enough, that they raised you, they pushed you over and over again. But somebody else that you thought really helped out, and how? Just give us a little bit as to how they helped out, and how we can go back and do things when some folks on our side do tend, if they ever come into positions like this. So
there were so many women, Seema, I wouldn't even know. I was going to say I wouldn't even know where to begin, but I'll begin by talking about the nurses in the hospital, the doctor. Dr. G. Orlando was my physiatrist, and she was just fantastic. A recreation therapist named Paula Burnson showed me that even in a wheelchair, I could go out and go kayaking,
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah.
Camping. There were so many things, that hand cycling, okay, so I can't ride a bicycle anymore. I can ride a hand cycle. There were so many people like that. My friends who were at the hospital every day. I had a dog at the time of my accident and was obviously unable to care for her while I was in a hospital for 2 months. So, a friend from the police department and her husband kind of adopted my dog for the 2 months that I was in the hospital.
I know that is amazing to hear all of that. Yeah.
I guess what I would say about how you might respond if something like this happens to a friend of yours. I remember my mom one time saying that she had to go to the hospital. I believe it was to the hospital to visit a friend who wasn't doing well. And she said, I don't even know what to say to the person. When I go into, I don't even know what to say to the person. And I was like, well, say hello.
That is so nice. Yeah.
Start with that and see where it goes. I think a lot of times we think we have to have the perfect words and know exactly what to say, and we don't.
Yeah. But just don't overthink. I guess that's what you're trying to say. Don't overthink. Just go smile and start it off. Yeah.
Right. Just go say hello and see where things go from there. Let the person you're going to visit or that you want to help, see how they respond, and nice. You can, kind of play off of that then, or figure out what they need. But, I think it's better to go and say hello.
Oh, nice.
And to sit home
and not do anything at all. Yes.
Worrying about what the right thing to say is.
Yeah, that is such a nice thing that you just said. And I mean, that being said, I know that was a very nice thought that you left us with, especially as you said, what do I go say when I go to a person like that? But at the same time, for all the people here, what are some of the specific words of wisdom that you've gained that you can just share with all of us here today? And it's something that I know just saying hello is one of them, but some more that I know you've gone through so much and you've been in as part of the police force. So it'd be nice to hear a little more about it. Yeah.
Well, I think, just sharing from the heart here, we all go through difficult times. There's no way to get through life without that. And I think that we have to remember to be patient. And, my motto is give tomorrow a chance. When things get really difficult, I think, okay, just get through tonight. Get up in the morning. When the sun comes up in the morning, you have a new chance to start over. And, even if you can't think so far ahead as to get through the night, break it down into the smallest piece that you have to get through. Do you have to tell yourself, just get through the next hour, or just get through the next 15 minutes, or whatever it is? It's easy to be overwhelmed. And I think that if we remember to break things down into the smallest units of time that we need to get through, we have what we need within us. We just have to, remember and trust that it's there.
Nice. Yeah. I especially love the fact that you're saying give tomorrow a chance. Yeah, that's such a nice takeaway, a really nice takeaway. It's like tomorrow is another day. Isn't that one of the famous movie lines? Tomorrow is a new day. Yes, yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah. So to give tomorrow a chance, it's so nice to hear, and so nice to take away from for all of us here that just break it into small parts and give tomorrow a chance. And thank you so much for those beautiful words and coming over here and sharing your wonderful experiences and your stories and how you were part of the police force way in the beginning when we never knew police women in the force. So thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
A pleasure to spend the day and the
Yeah.
evening here with everyone. So thank you, Seema.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
That being said, we will now move on to our next guest on the line, Pearl. So Pearl DeMello, she moved from India to the USA 41 years ago. Welcome, Pearl, and thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Seema.
Yeah. She completed her master's in counseling psychology and for 20 years was the owner of Kumon Math and Reading Center. And in addition to her being an active in the Indian community, she was also very actively involved with women and children, and they define her true purpose in life. Um, and we would love to be interested to know how Pearl became involved with both women and underprivileged children, and also refugee children. And though she is retired from her teaching profession, Pearl's been always ready to help the people in the community unconditionally. I know she's enjoying her retired life, able to travel, visit the gym, but most of all, Pearl really loves to pursue her passion for helping and caring the women and the disadvantaged children in her area. So, Pearl, welcome. And we are so, so glad to have you here on this Women's Day evening. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Seema.
Yeah. So just, I know we talked about how you've been so much involved with women and children. So let us know how you actually got involved in helping women and how you were so active with women and helping not just women, but also transitioning to underprivileged children and some of the challenges that you faced. And frankly, what gave you the strength to go through and these challenges? Yeah.
So, Seema, I truly feel my purpose on this life is being there for women,
Oh,
being there for children, especially the underprivileged children. And it just happens to be that, you know, the connections in my community, wherever I was, whether it was in Kalamazoo or in Ohio, I had the opportunity to be with uh, women who were going through crisis in their lives and sometimes afraid to talk about it, afraid to be judged by people, afraid to share their emotions with anyone. And somehow I was fortunate to be there for a few of the people, and that's where I got involved with women. With the kids, having Kumon Center, having the privilege to run it for 20 years, I had the privilege of working with a lot of kids. And some of the parents who came to enroll their kids could not afford the tuition. So I started offering scholarships for these students,
nice.
whereby, I
Yeah.
paid their franchise fees to Kumon, and I gave them the opportunity to benefit from the program. I was asked by teachers to sponsor some of the refugee kids from Syria, and I willingly agreed to do so.
Oh, that is such a blessing. Yeah, that's such a blessing for those kids. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And so you were talked about refugee children.
mhm.
I had the opportunity 3 years ago, the schools contacted me to start off with like tutoring them with English. These were 3 refugee kids who came from Afghanistan, and they came without family, without parents. And so what started off with the English tutoring ended up with me being a full-time parent to these
Wow.
3 teenage siblings.
That's more than even own mother can handle. I can't imagine how you took on 3 teenagers at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So what words of wisdom would you want to share with all of us today who would like to work in situations like this, like with disadvantaged children or refugee children? I know you have had firsthand experience.
so yeah,
Yeah,
did I have
yeah,
challenges? Yes, for sure.
yeah.
A lot. Just remembering that they came from a different country with a different cultural background, not knowing the English language, just coming here with all the leaving their parents back.
Mm.
Actually, that was the big one. Not having anyone to be home with them, and so I just helped with. Luckily, I knew the Indian language, Hindi, which fortunately, they also could communicate with me because they knew the language. So that helped a lot with the communication part of it. But did we go through challenges? Definitely. Without having parents to supervise, they were on their own. So they would sleep late, sometimes not sleep all night, and then go to school. Yeah.
Wow.
And they would go to school tired, or they would miss school. And there was I, right at their apartment, picking them up and telling them they got to go to school. So I would pack them into my car, and then there we go, go to school.
I know that's double trouble. It's at least with our kids, they're sleeping at home. So now you have to drive there and make sure that they're up and running. So, wow, that
Yeah.
is, yeah. So,
Along with that, they had a lot of health issues, coming,
wow.
a lot of GI
Mhm.
issues. And so doctor visits was another one. And then if they miss school bus, we had to write them to the school. Eating meals, we was many times they would not have hot meals ready for them. So preparing meals for them, just even being there, being
Yeah.
empathetic, listening to them. Sometimes it was depression, loneliness, missing their family, missing their parents. So those were my challenges. The number one challenge was rules. And all of us know, right, when we have
Oh,
our own
yeah.
kids,
They like to
cannot
push
tell
their
them,
envelope, and usually the teenagers definitely want to just get out of the envelope, not
yeah.
just push it.
But these
Yeah.
kids are the same, just like any
Mhm.
normal kid, didn't want to follow rules. And we still go through that. And but I think they're getting better. And that's
Ah,
the good part about it.
that is so nice to hear. Yeah.
Language was the big one too, but they try harder, but they have big dreams, but the biggest obstacle is the ability to speak fluent English.
Mm.
Uh, so that keeps them like 10 steps behind where they ought to be. We do see a big gap, but in their progress, but we encourage them to take baby steps, so that they can somehow get to their goals.
Right. Yeah, that is such a nice, yeah, take baby steps. I think that's almost similar to what Chris was saying. Take some few things at a time, and at the same time take baby steps. I mean, it's almost as if it's like everybody has to put it in their heads that not everything comes all at once. Just try going slowly. Yeah. So that being said, what kind of a message would you want to give women, I mean, who are actually going through, I know you went through your storm and everybody else have their own storms, as Chris and you very correctly said, nobody leads a nice plain life. You have to go through difficulties to know what happiness is. So what is your message that you want to give? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I come from I'm very passionate about women. And like you said, everyone has storms in their lives. And so I want to speak to the women who have storms in their life right now and tell them first that we're sorry that they have to go through those storms. But just remember that they don't last.
Yeah.
That too will pass.
Mhm.
And remember that you're always loved, that you're important, that you're valued, and always remember that you're never alone. You
Ah,
will always have someone with you. It might be a divine force. It could be, you have a best friend, but you will always have someone with you. Remember that your self-worth is determined by you. No one else, no man or no woman can take you down.
Yeah.
Unless you allow them to.
That is a
So,
very, very, very touching point. Yeah, it takes
yeah,
a while, especially from certain countries, for women to understand that it
yeah,
is you who needs to build that
yes,
up. And even sometimes for very educated women, you would think, huh, why do you think like that? But that is such a great point. That is such a
yes.
great
And through every crisis,
Mhm.
you're going to learn, right? You're going to learn and you're going to grow into a better and a more beautiful person.
Ah,
You have nothing to lose. If you've lost everything, you have nothing more to lose. So keep your chin up high and just move forward.
that is so nice.
It can
Nice to
only
hear
get
that.
better.
Mm.
Yes. And to my other women friends, just a word of advice, because, we are all wrapped up in our own lives. No one has time on their hands.
Mhm.
But my sincere advice to you is take some time to help those women who need your support and encourage them. If we women don't support each other, then who will?
Mhm.
Right?
That is so true. Yeah.
And so many women go through spousal abuse, they go through loneliness, they go through depression, and they're afraid to talk about it because they're afraid to be judged. Just listen to them, support them. Every now and then, send a message to them, send a text to them, telling them that you're thinking about them.
Ah. That's the just say hello, as Chris said. Just go say hello. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just little gestures like these, comforting them, is all we can do to make a difference, right, in someone else's life.
I know. That is so nice to hear. Actually, that was part of my next question too. What advice do you give? But that is, you just automatically pulled yourself into that. So that's so
Yeah.
nice to hear. Yeah. So any other words that, I mean, I know
Just more
as
that I
Chris said,
feel,
yeah.
just one more
Mm.
thing that I feel. Sometimes women, it's normal for every human being to have jealousy, or we envy someone else's goodness or happiness.
Mhm.
And I think we should be able to be happy for someone else's success, for someone else's beauty,
Yeah.
for someone else, anything that you see in a girlfriend, just be happy for them, and remember, if your girlfriend's going through a storm right now, we don't know when it'll be our day, right?
Mhm.
So it's always good to be there for each other and get through each woman's crisis with them.
Correct. Yeah. Just bear the rain with them. Put an
Absolutely.
umbrella on them rather than push them down. Yeah. That's such a, yeah. That is so nice to hear. Thank you so much for all those nice, wise words. And I mean, we can see a pattern coming as uh, take baby steps, think about small things, and just make sure that everybody helps each other, and then just wait for tomorrow. And I mean, I know it's all everybody needs to hear. Everybody kind of knows it in their minds, but it is always nice to keep hearing it and people reiterate it. And it's very nice to hear that. Yeah. So thank you, Paul. Any other? If not, I'll just move on to
I
Lisa.
think I think we said a lot, but thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for spending your time and this evening with us.
Sure.
So I would like to now introduce Lisa. Lisa Miscela, thank you and hello. Thank you for being here. I know there are so many women who are waiting to hear from you, and it's been a pleasure to have you here on this evening. So just wanted to tell the folks here on the call, Lisa Miscela is a devoted mother of four, and she faced that every one of us here dreads to hear, the big C. In 2012, Lisa was diagnosed with cancer. And how was Lisa able to overcome this disease and get a second chance of life? We would love to hear that from you, Lisa. And another thing that we would like to also talk about is she discovered the staggering extent of abuse of the farm suffered by farm animals. And she founded Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary, FFAS, a nonprofit organization dedicated to rescuing abused, neglected, and abandoned farm animals. We would love to hear her story about how she established this amazing nonprofit organization and where the animals can live free from all pain and suffering. And they also provide medical care and rehabilitation. And today, thanks to Lisa, FFAS is now home to over 80 rescued animals: goats, sheep, donkeys, ducks, chickens. All of them benefit from Lisa's compassion, vision, and tireless dedication. Lisa, thank you for being here, and thank you for thank you for making us a part of your journey. So, very first thing, how did you overcome, and what were the resources that you had, and how did you successfully uh, pull through or beat cancer? It's always how did you win the battle against that big C? Yeah, we would all
Hi,
like to hear
Seema.
that. Hello. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for having me, first of all. I think what the major role was resilience. I had to really dig down deep and find strength, to fight the cancer. I was a mother of 4. There was no husband in the picture. So I really had to find that strength. And on a really hard day, I had to just dig deeper and get stronger. I also relied on my sense of hope. I was always hopeful. I would always envision the future, the future with my kids. I would picture their weddings and grandchildren, and I was always there. So I was always hopeful. I always had that never give up, my family needs me. And I didn't even tell my kids at first,
Wow.
I was I didn't want, I wanted to protect them, so, but eventually I did tell them, and, they were very supportive, and we got through it together.
Oh, that is so nice to hear that. As you said, it is like any mother. The first thing that you want to do is protect your kids, and then after some time, you realize that it is not just us protecting; they will help us out, and that support kind of
Right.
gives you a lot more. And it's so nice to hear. And I keep saying this. There's this underlying theme of never give up, wait for tomorrow,
Exactly.
and do baby steps. And I think that's and hope. And Women's Day is about hope and never giving up and accomplishing things. So it's so nice to hear those things from you. Yeah. Now moving on to your other favorite subject. Farm animals. I know you hear dogs and cats, but abuse of farm animals. I never thought of that because I always thought people who farm animals love the animals. Why would you abuse them? But I guess there is this thing of abuse of farm animals, and very few people rise to actively do something about it. So, what inspired you to do this, and and how did you go ahead and found this Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary? Tell us a little about that. Yeah.
Well, I've always been compassionate about animals, always loved animals from a young child. I would always be the one finding a stray animal, a stray cat or a dog, and bringing it home and hiding it somewhere,
Oh,
so my parents wouldn't
nice.
know.
Yeah.
So I've always had that compassion. And after I became healthy again and beat cancer, I had that overwhelming feeling where I needed to make my life matter. I was given a second chance, so I wanted to do something. And there was no doubt in my mind that I wanted to do something with animals. So I did a lot of research, and I found out that farmed animals are the most abused and neglected animals on the planet.
Wow.
So I needed to focus on them. I love cats and dogs. I have several cats and dogs, but there are a lot of animal shelters and rescues for cats and dogs. And companion animals like cats and dogs are also protected by the law. Farm
Yeah.
animals are not. And
That's funny because you never think that. I've always
Right.
thought that, hey, these laws are applicable to every animal, and you would never, and you would think that if a farmer likes animals, why would they abuse them? But I guess you're an eye
Right.
opener for that. Yeah. So,
Yeah. So, whether it's abuse or neglect or abandonment.
mm,
So there was no doubt in my mind that, I needed to take action, and, my sympathy turned into empathy, and took the steps to form the nonprofit. In October of 2018, I attended a livestock auction, and it was horrific. And yeah, we rescued our first 6 animals that day. They were all goats that were heading for slaughter, and they were sick and unhealthy. And we brought them back, and that's the day that Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary came to be.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
such
we've
inspiring.
grown.
That's so inspirational. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So we've grown over the last 5 years, and we have over 80 animals. All of them have their own unique story. They've all been through something, but now they're here and they will live the rest of their lives healthy and safe. And some of them have never felt the love of a human touch. Some
Wow.
of them still don't let us approach them, but it takes
Oh,
time. Yeah,
mm.
but you can tell that they know that they're safe, you know,
Yeah,
and you
that's
see it
nice.
in their
Yeah,
eyes.
it's almost the eyes of the window of the soul. So you can see that,
Mhm.
as you said. Yeah,
So
that is
true.
yeah. And how this whole thing? I know you would have had you started it, you had a vision, but everybody knows it takes a village to get things done. Doesn't matter what
Mhm.
it is, it takes a village. So who were there with you? Who are the women who were there with you, and how did they support you, and how did you feel about the whole thing? And because it's tough asking for help too, it takes a different
Yeah,
kind of personality to ask for help. So
it does. And
yeah.
I'm, shy. I'm a shy person, so it's difficult. But of course my family was there for me. Especially my mom and my daughter and my
Ah,
sister.
so nice, so sweet.
Whether yeah, whether it was hands-on support at the farm, getting dirty and helping out that way, or financial support, or emotional support when I was having a really hard day. And there are a lot of those in animal rescue. So those 3 women in my life really played a crucial role in bringing our vision to reality and making a difference. My daughter's involvement, my youngest daughter, was so inspiring and impactful. Her passion for animal welfare and commitment to creating a positive change by my side was really a driving force. She was full of enthusiasm and dedication. And just a couple years in to having the sanctuary, I had an accident and I
Oh,
severely broke my
oh
shoulder.
my. Sorry
And
to
she
hear
was
that.
living in Rhode Island at the time. And she came home, and not only did she take care of me, but she took care of all the other animals.
Oh,
And I have to tell you, she never went back. She
wow.
realized that this was also her passion. And
That
she
is so
stayed,
nice.
and we worked side by side every day. And I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of the
Uh,
woman that she's become,
that's such a
So,
true blessing to see how your
yes,
daughter has now grown on to take care of some of your passions and be
right,
almost the same way as you are. Yeah.
right.
By the way, I do love those cushions, the cushion with the goat on there. That I
Oh,
guess
that
it
was,
must be one. Yes. Yeah,
that was
that
a
is.
gift, and that's actually, it looks like one of our goats, one of the first ones we
Oh,
rescued, and it was a gift from one of our supporters. So I,
oh,
I
that is so
treasure
nice.
that.
Yeah, and it's like
Thank
it
you.
takes your eye away to that place. So that is such a nice. Yeah, and you know exactly what you mean, that you're so passionate about animals and farm animals. So, I mean, now that we are all here, I mean, I know Chris has told about her piece of tomorrow, and Paul has been talking about baby steps. What are some of the words that you would like to talk to all of us? That I mean, we're often troubled by inhuman. I mean, we're often troubled by everything. I mean, you see the news today. There's some things that happen you don't even think can happen to you, and only when you see up on the news you see that, oh my God, that's abuse, and that's. I mean, it need
Mhm.
not be It need not be just humans. It can even be animals, as you just showed. So, what is some of the words of wisdom that you can give to our community here? What do you? Yeah.
Well, first, I would just like to remind everyone that animals are sentient beings. They feel the emotions as we do. They feel fear, they feel joy, they feel sadness, they feel loss, and of course, they feel pain. So just
Mm,
always keep that in mind. And I would also like to address the young women of tomorrow and recognize that you have the power to affect change. I wish I had that confidence and did this many, many years ago.
mhm.
That's like one little regret that I have because it's so late in life for me to be doing this, but know
Hey, you
that.
started somewhere. It's
I
never
know, and
late.
I'm very,
Yeah.
very grateful I
Better
did.
late than never. So
Of course,
yes.
yes. But also know that you have the ability to make a difference, and always empower yourself with knowledge and skills and the resources to advocate for what you believe in, and create positive change, and start
Wow.
small, start in your own community, and then you can grow from there. So
Oh, that
just
is so nice to hear. Start your own community. Yeah, which is what I think
Mhm,
we are all getting into. This is a small
mhm,
community of all of us
mhm.
always being together and talking about things, as Savi just said, having a nice heart to heart. So thank you, Chris, for your tomorrow. Let tomorrow come. Thank you, Paul, for the baby steps, and thank you, Lisa, for saying that, hey, I mean, just be there for everybody and make sure that it is not just humans, but animals also deserve a special place in our heart. Not just a special, more than a special place in our heart, because they're much weaker and they cannot retaliate like a human can. So I guess that's something that someone needs to tell you. So thank you all. So I'll just open it up now to, I know I've been asking a lot of questions, and I can guarantee that a lot of other people have questions. So I would like to open it up to the forum, just to go ahead and ask these esteemed people and very accomplished people who've gone through so many thunderstorms in life. But hey, after every thunderstorm, there's a nice scent of the earth. So
A
just
rainbow.
yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Lisa, where is your sanctuary? Where do you have your farm?
We're in Middlebury, Connecticut.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Ah.
Okay.
Mm.
small little town outside, maybe Waterbury, between Waterbury and New Haven, Connecticut, a small little
Okay.
town.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else for questions?
It is really inspiring to hear all the stories from them. And we have to learn a lot from their experiences.
Mhm.
That's what they're very special about, that's what they are special, so I think they're truly, truly amazing. Thank you so much for being here. That's all. I don't have any words,
I
to
know
be
it
honest
does.
with you.
Yeah, it does. It actually gives you a different perspective to all the things that happen in our lives when you hear people
You're
talk
on
about
mute,
their.
Seema. Seema.
Yeah, Priya, I think Priya, do you have a question? I think if anyone has a question.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad to look at all of you guys. Actually, I'm missing my mom who's in India.
Oh,
Today's festival, I'm fasting and looking at all the women. My inspiration is my mother. After that, my sisters. And I look at my professors and teachers as inspiration. I brought up with a single mother, so it's always pleasure to see all the inspirational women like that. Actually, I want to ask a question to all the women, whoever could answer. It's hard to take decisions. I'm from India. After coming here, I've learned values. I've learned a lesson, life lesson. After coming here, there are a lot of questions: what is right and what is wrong. Sometimes seeking help from others look like weak, so it's hard to decide sometimes things like whom to trust, whether I
Mhm.
should do this now or not. Sometimes I'm willing to take, you know risk and then fail. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to fall down. So what do you guys do when you are not sure what kind of a decision to take?
Priya, I know you cannot talk to everyone. You got to first build your trust. You got to build your comfort zone. And once you've built that, then I think it's okay to trust and open up. I think when you keep it in, you're festering yourself. It just festers in and it'll just make you more miserable. So to me, I say take a risk, open up, trust someone, and speak.
Vidya out here says that that she has actually visited a farm sanctuary, that your farm sanctuary, and
Yes,
she just wanted to say that thank you to everyone. Yeah. So thank
thank you.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So we would just go ahead and return it to Ruth Upton. So or Andra, to go ahead and bring this session to, because we are almost at time. We are like 3 minutes to 8 o'clock. And
Thank you so much, Seema. Really appreciate your help. And thank you so much, Chris and Pearl and Lisa, for sharing your heartfelt experiences. We appreciate your efforts to be a champion for the handicapped, Chris, and to you, Pearl, for making a difference in the lives of refugee children and disadvantaged youth. And of course, to you, Lisa, for your compassion and efforts to set up the Freedom Farm Animal Sanctuary to care for the abused farm animals. And thank you especially also, Seema, you were a wonderful facilitator. And so we really appreciate making all of our guests feel very comfortable and to allow them to share all the wonderful information that they did tonight.
oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. And now Ruth Upton, board member of the Mohanji Foundation USA, will present our wonderful guests with a certificate of appreciation. Ruth?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Andra. I'm so honored to present these certificates to these amazing women who've accomplished so much. Mohanji Foundation USA is pleased to present these distinctive certificates of appreciation for the valuable contributions each of you has made by sharing your heartfelt stories this evening. Miss Chris Golden, in appreciation of your exemplary service in adding value to the local communities around the United States by courageously overcoming a life-changing calamity and drawing from your newfound strength to improve the lives of all those who suffer from a debilitating disability.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
And then we have Miss Pearl DeMello, this award of appreciation for community leadership in appreciation of your exemplary service in adding value to the communities around the United States by compassionately and unconditionally embracing the challenges of underprivileged children and women and selflessly providing for their well-being.
Thank you.
And then we have Ms. Lisa Miskela. This award of appreciation for community leadership is in appreciation of your exemplary service in adding value to the local communities around the United States through your compassion and care to the well-being of abused, neglected, and abandoned farm animals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth. The Heart to Heart Women's Circle is meant to be an international women's program. We encourage anyone who is interested in setting up the Heart to Heart Women's Circle in your city, please contact us. We are here to help you. Just like Pearl said, there are a lot of women here out there who are struggling with depression and loneliness, who needs our help. So we are here to listen and support. Our contact details are in the chat box. Please. Over to you, Andra.
Thank you so much, Savi. So we end tonight's program with a beautiful poem that honors the graciousness and the courage and the compassion of women. And we would like to thank Namitha for putting this together, putting this amazing poem together. Namitha, are you there? I don't know if Namitha is there, but we certainly want to give her credit for putting this wonderful, wonderful poem together, which is absolutely perfect for the International Women's Day. So we also would like to thank our wonderful Runa for her technical support. Runa, would you wave to everybody, please, so they know where you are? Our multi-talented Runa, who helps us every step of the way and has held us together with all this technical support. Thank you so much, Runa. And now for this beautiful poem. In the garden of womanhood, a sisterhood blooms, a tapestry of strength, dispelling life's glooms. Bound by a thread of shared love and care, sisters in spirit, a bond beyond compare. In the quiet echoes of dawn's first light, together we stand in our glorious might. In our laughter and the whispers of tears, O women of strength, rise beyond fears. Amidst life's tempests, let courage ignite. Through the seasons of life, shine our radiant light. In the mirror of time, reflections of grace, sisters uplift in every embrace. In the garden of dreams, we plant seeds of hope. Sisters together, helping each other cope. From the strength of a gaze to the warmth of a hand, with kindness as our shield, we eternally stand. With each heartbeat, our joy and purpose align. With every battle won, our spirits shine. United we rise like the phoenix so bright, a symphony of strength, casting out night. So here's to the sisters, both near and afar. In the constellation of womanhood, each a shining star. In this sacred circle, hearts entwined like a vine, sisterhoods embrace a sanctuary divine. To all of our sisters around the world, please join me. Everyone, happy, unmute, happy
International
Women's
Day.
Day.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.